Hi there, my name is P and I will be showing you some simple watercolor techniques to add to your bullet journal. So here I'm using an A6 hardbound notebook. The papers are not very great, but they will take watercolors fairly good. So I'm using this notebook. This is in the A6 size and I have already done some florals in the first page, but I'm going to show you some easy methods to add floral accents to your bullet journals and journals, and you don't have to be a watercolor artist for this. You can simply add some water and then I'm just going to blob some watercolors. Okay, so as you can see, I've just put in a blob of watercolor and I am going to put in a bit more. Now you don't have to be too careful about this, because eventually we're going to go over with some techniques which will hide the imperfections that will arise during the process. So I'm using this watercolor palette from Daler-Rowney. This is called Aquafine, and it's also not a very great quality, but it does the job. So I'm pretty happy with the way things are in this watercolor palette, because as I said, we're going to just add accents. We're not in the process of creating a floral bunch or anything of that sort. So I'm just going to add a little bit of extra color into the center, as you will see, and this color will just follow the water that we have surrounded that round circular thingy, and it will bleed through, and that's the effect we want when we are trying to draw some no-name flower sort of thing. Like, we want these flowers to be not any specific type, but they will look great. So I need to dry this first, and then we're going to see where it goes. Now they have dried fairly well, and now I'm going to go over with some green colors just to add some leafy accents. Again, perfection is not what we want. We want the loose effect, just to give you a hint of color, so that when we go over with the finishing techniques, it looks nice. It doesn't have to look like it's been painted by an artist. It's being done by you, which will have imperfections, and the process does not involve any kind of speciality that you need to have, so it's okay. Like, if it is best for the beginners, you don't have to be perfect. As I'm saying time and again, perfection is not what we are seeking out here. We will just give this a florally look. Your page will have some sort of a florally look, and this might look very unimpressive right now, but trust me, this gets better. So I will just put some green accents, which will basically form the the leafy portions of the journal page, and you will see that it doesn't matter whether it's not of the perfect shape. It doesn't matter whether you have more of a color, but I will say try to go with as light as possible. Just a little hint of color is all what we want. We don't want too much of color. So what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to add little blobs of green, as you can see, along with that pinkish red that we have. And I'm very sorry that towards the right end of the screen there is this there's some sort of an obstruction. I was not aware of that, so please excuse that part, and I know that's not going to cause much obstruction to the actual page that we are working on, so that's fine. So it has dried completely, and now we're going to move away our watercolor thingies, and we're going to start adding accents to this. So as I said, perfection is not what we want. I'm using my technical pen it can be Sakura, Pigma, Micron, but I'm just using a no name brand, you can say. I bought this from AliExpress. It's 0.2, and I'm just adding some leafy structures. And just as I said, I'm just going to draw some branches and start adding leaves to them. So they will basically have the green backdrop, and I'm just adding these tiny leaves to them. And trust me, this is a very simple process, but it will look very good on your bullet journal pages. And this is totally for the beginners. This is not for someone who has already been into watercolor paintings. This is for people who are just starting out, or probably are a little bit afraid to start a watercolor on their pages. So it's just that I'm back again because I had some sort of a frog in my throat. I'm just walking you through the process, and I totally apologize again for the lighting, because we are having a very, very rainy day and lighting is pretty dark. So I had to adjust the lighting, but still it isn't that great. So I hope this doesn't put you off. And if you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up. If you want to watch more easy tips and tricks to adorn your journal pages and bullet journals with accents like of collages, of watercolor accents, pen line drawing, very simple, basic, rudimentary ones. They are not going to be targeted for person who already has skills. This is for the beginners. And you can see how the leaves are looking. And I'm going to add more structures. You can add small berry like things. We'll try and do that. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just adding some tiny drops, black dot sort of thing on the at the center of the flower, and we will start drawing the petals now. So again, perfection is not what we want. This is a no-name flower. You don't have to draw a rose, you don't have to draw a peony, but if it looks like that, then it's fine. It's okay. So I'm just drawing 3 petals to begin with. I like to start off with uneven number of petals, because that makes things easier. And then what I do is I just bring the petals from the crest of one to the crest of the other. So in between the gaps you have these in between the gaps between the petals you have another petal going. So that's how the circular look comes in. And I'm just adding a little bit of dots at the center, and again I'm adding those petals, and you can see how I'm doing that from one crest to the other, and then from there to the other, till our colored surface gets covered, so that it looks like a flower. But you don't have to have that perfection, as I said. You can go back later and add shades. Probably I will do that in some later videos. And now what I'm doing is I'm just adding some more accents, more leaves, you can say, just so that it looks more complete. So I'm just adding some more leaves, and this time around I don't have any greenish patch, so you will have a fair share of view, like if it is without the green patch, how does it look, and if you put a green backdrop, how does it look. You can have both the options to choose from. So it's totally up to you. Whichever one you want, you can go for that. And yeah, so this is how I'm adding some leaves. Again, as I said, I'm adding leaves, and I'm also planning on adding some berry-like structures. So I will show you how I do that. Again, small tiny leaves. You don't have to be perfect. Just the hint of having some branches popping up. So I'm just going to add some tiny berries, as you can see, and just so that it looks a little bit filled out. So it's totally up to you. You can mix them up. You can just stick to one thing, either with leaves or with berries or both. It's totally up to you. You can even omit the floral part. You can just go with the leaves and the berries. They look fine too. You don't have to be perfect in that way. So this is how our page is looking, and probably I'm going to add a few more berries at the edge of the page, towards the the right hand corner where there is that small flower sort of thing. So I'm going to maybe go back and add some over here. This was just the start, and again, as I said, this is totally up to you what you want. So I'm going to add another there is a sprig of berries, you can say. But as you can see, it's totally freestyle. You don't have to draw anything ahead of time. You don't have to use pencil, just a technical or mechanical pen that you have. I'm using the point 2, and I think point 2 is the best line drawing pen that you can go for. And this is an A6 notebook. As I said, start off with something smaller if the bigger size intimidates you, because with a little bit of effort in a smaller notebook, it looks more filled out. So that's another tip that you can put to use. So I'll be back to show you new things in my A6 journal and how I journal in this. So bye everybody, have a great day and stay safe.